I've always been confident, maybe a little too confident. My name's Jake, and up until recently, I thought I had it all figured out. I was the guy everyone turned to at work. But looking back, I realized that my arrogance was my undoing. It all started during a big meeting with my team. I was in charge of presenting our latest project. And I could feel the room's attention on me. But instead of working with MIA, a colleague I've always looked down on, I insisted on doing everything myself. I remember brushing her off when she offered to help, thinking, I've got this. But I didn't. The presentation was a disaster. I stumbled over my slides, and the data was all wrong. My boss's face turned from confused to furious. I could feel the judgment from my co-workers. Worst of all, MIA, the one I had arrogantly dismissed, was quietly watching from her seat. She could have saved me, but my pride wouldn't let her. After the meeting, I sat in my office, head in my hands, waiting for the inevitable conversation with my boss. When he finally came in, it wasn't just a reprimand. He had promoted MIA to lead the project I'd screwed up. It stung, but I knew I deserved it. I'd let my arrogance blind me to my own flaws. Walking home that night, I couldn't shake the feeling of failure. The mistakes I made replayed in my head over and over. I wasn't angry at MIA, I was angry at myself. For the first time in a long while, I realized how far I'd fallen. The next day, I swallowed my pride and approached MIA. I told her the truth, that I'd been wrong, and that I admired her work. She could have rubbed it in, but instead, she just smiled and said, "We all make mistakes." That moment changed me. Together, MIA and I collaborated on the next big project. We worked as a team, sharing ideas and supporting each other. When it was time to present again, this time we nailed it. My boss smiled at us, and I could feel the respect of my colleagues returning. I'd learned the hard way that humility, not arrogance, earns respect. A few weeks later, I found myself in the break room, handing out coffee to my co-workers, laughing with them like old friends. It was a simple gesture, but it felt right. For the first time in a while, I wasn't trying to prove anything. I was just happy to be part of the team. Humility had brought me down a peg, but in the end, it lifted me higher than I ever could have gotten on my own.